Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And today, long awaited have the British Battlecruisers been. And today of this recording, the 7th, they have announced the line in full. Well, mostly in full. There's a couple of ships that are missing, but we'll talk about those in a minute. They've given us images, stats, all that jazz. We're going to go through all of that right here on this video. But before we get into that, just want to announce that TSOF is recruiting. That is the channel's clan. We have competitive teams that participate in clan battles, ranked, and the likes, and we also have more casual teams. So if that interests you, check out the application down below. Alright, but this DevBlog, link to it is in the description down below as well. I'm going to throw up any relevant images or artwork up on screen as I go through it. If you want to read along as I read aloud, again, the description is down below. The link is in the description down below. Let's go ahead and get on into this. So, new ships, closed test 11.4. Researchable British battleships, battlecruisers, German supercruisers, Clausewitz, and British battleship Collingwood have been added to the game for testing. The following ships will be added to the game for the upcoming test session. British battleship Queen Mary, which is the Tier 4 battlecruiser. The last British battlecruiser to enter service before the outbreak of World War I. A fast ship with a powerful main battery but relatively weak armor. British battleship Tiger, which is the Tier 5. A battlecruiser that stood out from its predecessors because of its more rational main battery layout, with turrets on the bow and stern, and a more formidable secondary battery. So, from Tier 3 to Tier 5, they are real steel ships. But from, and to Tier 6 too, but they don't have an image of that one just yet. But from here on out, they are all just paper ships. So, the next one is the Rook, the Tier 7, a project for a battlecruiser proposed after World War I, Project J3. A large ship with a very high speed for its size that is also distinguished by its more powerful armament and protection compared to its predecessors. Then, they're not showing us the Tier 8, but the Tier 9, the British battleship Duncan. This is the G3 design. I'm so glad they went ahead and added this in. A project for a battlecruiser proposed after World War I. Project G3. The defining feature of this design was its layout of its 419mm main battery guns, which is 2 in the front, 1 amidships. They did that because they could just armor that section of the ship and save on the overall tonnage of the ship. And then at the Tier 10, we have the St. Vincent, which is the other G3 design. But this one has 457mm guns. I do believe the real G3 was meant to be armed with 20-inch guns. But, I mean, hey, it's World Warships, and 9 20-inch guns at Tier 10 would have been a little nutty. So they kept the triple barrels and just cranked it down to 457mm. Alright, let me Google that real quick if that was the G3's design. I mean, there's several designs for the G3, so it wouldn't surprise me if one did have 18-inch guns. Okay, so that's what I thought. The G3 was supposed to have the 9 16-inch guns, and the N3 was supposed to have the 9 18-inch guns. So technically, the St. Vincent is an N3 design. The stats of battlecruisers Indefatigable, which is the Tier 3, the Renown, the Tier 6, and the Hawk, which are the Tier 8, are still being adjusted. Technical details about these ships will be shared at a later date. So what is the Hawk supposed to be? Well, I can't find anything about Hawk besides it being a sloop or a dreadnought or a Minotaur class cruiser, so I'm not exactly sure what that class is supposed to be, and they don't show a image of it on here. Maybe it's a modernized Admiral class, but I don't think any of them were supposed to be named Hawk or anything like that, so that's interesting. Alright, they go on to say, currently we have 2 possible gameplay concepts for British battlecruisers. The first being medium close-range brawlers with short firing ranges, torpedoes with high damage but small launch sectors, secondary guns with a high chance to set fires, as well as a quick acceleration maneuverability characteristics. At the same time, they would have average accuracy and HE penetration values. The deck armor is the same as that of British heavy cruisers. Available consumables would include engine boost, DFAA, and repair party. The second concept is long-range ships with high accuracy and powerful HE and AP shells. Equipped with engine boost, DFAA, and a standard repair party, they would, however, not have improved maneuverability and powerful armor. Do the first one. We have enough ships that sit in the back of the game already. Please make them medium to close-range brawlers. That would be a tremendous amount of fun. It sounds like with the torpedoes with the small aiming sectors. They may even be looking at adding in the submerged torpedo tubes that the G3 and N3 class were supposed to get, and that many of these battle cruisers had in real life. So that's interesting that they mentioned that, but I would love for that first concept to become a thing. Alright, we want to test both concepts to determine which one suits the branch best. In order to test both concepts on the same ship, we created a clone of St. Vincent, St. Lawrence. I wonder if they're going to create a clone of every ship, or if it's just the tier 10 they're going to try that with. Alright, so Battlecruisers, finally they're coming, and I'm very, very excited for it. I do want to know what the Hawk is. I mean, we know what the Renown is. We have the Repulsion game already. Same with the tier 3, but the Hawk, that's an interesting one, to say the least. I'd like to think maybe it's a modernized Admiral class, like the planned upgrade to the Hood, if she had survived her encounter with Bismarck. That would be very, very interesting to see in game, because we would have the original, the Hood, and then we just have the much speculated refit. That'd be pretty neat. I'd like to see that. Alright, so they go on to say British battleship Collingwood tier 7. This is the Nelson. Huh. Okay. So they state, similar to the Nelson class battleships, all 6 of Collingwood's 419mm guns are in 3 turrets on the bow of the ship. Collingwood operates as a medium-range battleship with a small number of powerful guns. It has access to HE and AP shells with good armor penetration and damage values, as well as a high rate of fire. Oh, I see. It's a dual-gun Nelson. She only has 6 guns. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't see that at first. I took a quick glance at her and just went, oh, it's a Nelson, ain't it? But it's a Nelson with only 2 guns per turret. Okay, so what if it's going to have more... Well, they said high rate of fire, so maybe it'll be a little bit more accurate, too. That'll be interesting to see how that works. Okay, that's... Huh. If you're going to change up Nelson, that's one way to do it. Alright, they have a wall of text here, so let's get through it. An important part of the gravitas radiated by the United Kingdom's Royal Navy comes from its long-standing traditions. Among them are the constant inheritance of ship names from generation to generation, and the assignment of certain names or types of names to specific ship classes. A striking example of this are the so-called admirals. At the end of the 19th century, a large class of capital ships named after naval commanders of the age of sail were laid down across Britain's shipyards. These ships went down in history as the first Admiral class, with the lead of the 6 ironclad battleships Collingwood being named after Horatio Nelson's closest associate, Admiral Cuthbert Collingwood, 1750 through 1810. Another series of 6 ironclads were later called the Duncan class in honor of Admiral Adam Duncan, 1731 through 1804. The victory over the Dutch fleet at the Battle of Camperdown in 1797. The Admiral naming convention was reaffirmed in 1910 when the Royal Navy was replenished with 3 new dreadnoughts of the St. Vincent class, bearing the name of Admiral John Jervis, 1735 to 1823, Count of St. Vincent, who was awarded this honorary title after defeating the Spanish fleet at the Battle of Cape St. Vincent in 1797. The second battleship of this class took up the mantle of the now obsolete ironclad Collingwood, which had been decommissioned a year earlier. From then on, the tradition really took root. In 1916, 4 mighty battle cruisers were laid down, led by the legendary Hood and followed by Anson, Howe, and Rodney. This class again became known as the Admiral class because they were all famous British admirals of the 18th century. But as it turned out, only the lead ship ever entered service. The names of the rest were reused in the 1920s to 30s for the battleships of the Nelson and King George V class. We reasoned that such naming convention for the Royal Navy capital ships would certainly have continued as certain battlecruiser projects of the 1920s would have come to fruition. Therefore, our models, which are based on the blueprints of battlecruisers G3 and I3, bear the names Duncan and St. Vincent. The battlecruiser created according to the revised design of the battleships Nelson and Rodney was named Collingwood. Finally, the J3 and K3 battlecruiser designs were named Rook and Hawk in order of 2 other British naval commanders, Admirals George Rooke, 1650 to 1709, and Edward Hawke, 1705 to 1781. So the Hawk is a K3 design. Let's take a quick Google for that. Oh, it's like a normal battleship looking thing. It's not a crazy design like the N3s and G3s. Okay. It should have 16-inch guns, but we'll take a look at that here in a moment. Alright, neat. Okay. So up next, the supercruiser Clausewitz, which is a German supercruiser. Alright. Heavy cruiser with 12 210mm guns, powerful AA, and torpedo launchers designed for long-range raiding. The ship's gameplay is an evolution of Tier 10 cruiser Hindenburg, having higher HP, better armor, greater firepower, and more torpedoes. However, to compensate for this notable improvements over its predecessors in the tech tree, Clausewitz will not have any unique supership mechanics, so it's just a bigger Hindenburg. Oh my god. Alright, what's their explanation for the naming of this thing? The German War of Liberation that was fought in 1813 against Napoleonic domination, oh my god. Look, there's some things that can work out in German, this may not be one of it. Befreiungskrieg was a massive step toward the creation of a unified German state. The commanders and architects of the united German victory in the war were recognized as national heroes. When the German Empire began challenging British maritime dominance at the dawn of the 20th century, their names began to be assigned to new warships. Already in the opening years of the century, a clearly defined tradition was implemented to name large cruisers in honor of the generals of the War of Independence, York, Scharnhorst, Gneisenau, Blücher, and Lotzo. Decades later, in the Kriegsmarine, almost all of them found a second life as tribute not only to the national heroes of 1813 themselves, but also to the ships of the same name that were lost in the battles of the First World War. These are the Battlecruisers Scharnhorst and Gneisenau, the heavy cruisers Blücher and Lotzo. There is no doubt that this tradition would have continued if history had taken a different course. In addition to the Scharnhorst, Gneisenau, Blücher, Lotzo, one of the heroes of the War of Independence was a professional staff officer, Karl von Clausewitz, best known for his essay on war, which revolutionized the foundations of the military science. It is still a reference book in the military academias around the world. Whitewater Warships felt that the new heavy cruiser of the German playable nation might be worthy of this name. Whew! Man, they really want to go full-on Drachenfell here. Alright, so let's take a look at the stats of these ships. Alright, so the Queen Mary, the Tier 4, she has 4x2, 343mm guns, a 14.5 kilometer firing range. And I'm just going to assume that since these ranges are short even for like Tier 4 and Tier 5 standards, they are going currently in the medium to close range brawling ships, which I do like. Alright. The Tiger, the Tier 5, you have 4x2, 343mm guns, 16.3 kilometers of range, 49,600 hit points. You get 4x1 533mm torpedoes with a range of 6 kilometers. They travel at 53 knots and reload in 95 seconds. Alright, the Rook, the Tier 7, you have 3x3, 381mm guns, 17.5 kilometer firing range at Tier 7. That's fairly decent. HE shell does a maximum damage of 5,350. AP shell does a maximum damage of 11,900. And a sigma of 1.5. Oh boy. And the maximum dispersion of 195 meters. What is the reload time on these guns? 30 seconds. Oh man. Yeah, that'll be a challenge. Again, you get 4x1 533mm torps, so yeah, it sounds like they're single launch torp tubes, so these should be the tubes that are in the side of the ship, below the waterline. It should be. Alright, the Duncan, which is the Tier 9, you have 75,200 hit points, which is pretty normal for a Tier 9 battleship. 25mm plating, though. They may have some icebreaker bows going on. We don't really know for sure, but I'm going to assume that they do. Very similar to the German battle cruisers as well. You get 3x3 419mm guns, 18.9 kilometer range on the shorter side for Tier 9. Maximum HE shell damage 6,150. Maximum AP shell damage 13,050. You have a 47% chance to cause fire on that HE2. I forgot to mention that. And these guns reload in 30 seconds. They have a sigma of 1.5. Oof. And 207 meters maximum dispersion. But they're supposed to also have really good AP and HE as well in this configuration too. And you get 2x1 530mm torps. Wow. So you get 1 torp tube per side? How long does this take to reload? Reload time 55 seconds. Alright, that's good. That's pretty memey. That's giving me some Mutsu vibes there. Not quite to the level of Mutsu, like the 20-second. What does Mutsu have? Like a 25-second reload time on the torps, but you're getting there. Launching 180-degree turn time, 15 seconds. Oh, so it's they're on the deck then, not on the in the hull. Well, maybe they are. We'll see when they put them into for testing where we can view them in port. All right, so she goes 32 knots. She has a 910 meter steering circle radius, so rotor shift time is 16.6 seconds. Detectable from 15.3 kilometers away. And then damage con, specialized repair teams, engine boost, and smoke. Alright, the St. Vincent, 79,400 HP, 25 millimeters of plating. And then you get, again, 3x3 457 with a reload time of 30 seconds. Still a sigma of 1.5, 212 meters of maximum dispersion. The HE does 7100 maximum alpha, 76 millimeters of pin, 63% chance of causing a fire, though. Good God. And your maximum AP shell damage is 14,900. And you get 2x1 533 millimeter torps, same as the Duncan, looks like. Yeah, maximum damage 21,067. Okay. Maximum speed 32.5 knots. Rush time is 17 seconds. And you get a turning circle radius of 970 meters again. I mean, the Duncan and the St. Vincent should technically be essentially the same size. Since they are the same class, the Vincent just does have the larger guns. Alright, and same consumables as well. Alright, so the Collingwood, which is the Tier 7 Nelson with one less gun. 58,500 HP, 16 millimeters of plating, 3x2, 419mm guns, 19.1 kilometer range. Maximum HE shell damage is 6,150. Maximum AP shell damage is 13,000. You get a 47% chance to cause a fire on the targets with the HE shells. 2.0 Sigma, though. That's a pretty good pickup for a Tier 7 ship, especially when it only has 6 guns. And then in most situations, you'll only be able to use 4 of those guns. No torpedoes or anything. Maximum speed 25 knots. Turning circle radius 800 meters. Rotor shift time 14.8 seconds. Alright. And the Clausewitz, 58,000 HP, 27 millimeter plating. It has 30-second fires, though. That's nice for a supercruiser. Wow. Okay. You get 4x3 210mm guns, 2,400 maximum HE shell damage, 6,200 maximum AP shell damage, 14% chance of causing a fire on the HE. A reload time of 9 seconds. That's nice. 2.05 Sigma, 161 meters maximum dispersion, 4x5, 533mm torps with a range of 6 kilometers. They do 13,700 maximum damage. And you get damage con, hydro, repair, or spotter. Oh, sorry, you get hydro or DFA, fighter or spotter, and a repair party. Alright, I just kind of went through some of the more stats that you guys probably would be more interested in: gun caliber and reload time. If you do want to check out the stats in their entirety, check out the link down below for that. So I'm very excited for these British Battlecruisers. I'm so glad they're finally coming out, and I cannot wait to get my hands on them in game. But this isn't even going into closed test until 11.4, so I don't think we'll see these ships out until maybe at the earliest the end of summer, unfortunately. Probably the August or maybe the September. Wouldn't surprise me if it was going into October update for the game. But I'm very excited to see them. I'm glad they're looking at maybe making them another brawling class like the German Battlecruisers, because those were a ton of fun. I really, really hope Wargaming, if you're listening to this, go with the Brawlers. I really want to play those. It sounds like a ton of fun. Kind of like Incomparable. And Incomparable's a lot of fun, even though the meta's kind of painful recently, but this might help shift it back in the other direction. Alright guys, let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. I will be live streaming right here tonight on the channel from 5 p.m. US Central to 8 p.m. US Central, so make sure to come out for that. Hope you have a wonderful Friday and have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful Easter. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.